Hey guys, well, Posty just delivered my latest package of comics, and it's pretty cool because I was only told by Chris that it'll be delivered, that he posted out yesterday. So 24 hours, it's here. I hope it was yesterday. Was it the day before? No, I think it was yesterday. Anyway, so brown bags. I asked Chris to send up some free stuff that he had lying around. So I've got Wolverine Through the Years. This is cool. It's cool. I love Wolverine. I've loved Wolverine since the 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, since I started buying my own comics. And okay, so I've been collecting Unnatural for Mirka and Dolfo. I read the first issue online, and I said I love the artwork on this stuff. And you guys might have heard me mention it probably about 2 years ago on my radio show when I was doing it in 2018, if I remember right. Maybe I might be wrong by that, but I have mentioned this comic before about how much I love it. It's a 12-issue maxi series. I missed a couple of issues, so he was able to get them for me. So I think I've got all my 12 now. Also, the comic book news stuff. I just like to be get up to date on stuff because sometimes you get really cool stuff like this, right? What's this one here? This is Here Lies Nancy Drew. So there's a nice little promotional cover for them. Back in the old days, comic book news and Wizard were the only sort of like the things you could get because there was no social media. So stuff like Wizard magazine would give you a whole bunch of like releases, information, little limited issue, little ash cans, black and white, little mini comics about half that size, right? And or posters just to promote, because you didn't have social media saying, hey, check out my comic book, it's online, this is the pages of it. So the other one I'm getting from Mirka is the Italian artist, if I remember right, and writer is Unsacred. I just love her art style. I think it's really cutesy. I have never really got it in, when I first started getting into comics way back in the 80s, I never really was into this sort of stuff because there wasn't this sort of stuff available. And if it wasn't available in New Zealand. So that's that. So the other one I'm getting at the moment, the first 6 issues, is Simon Spurrier. I like Simon Spurrier, and I loved his work on Garth Ennis's Crust series, the one he did online. And it just got me into reading his work because there's something I'm going to be doing a live stream about today about voices of artists. Voices of writers and directors. So that'll be on later today when I do a live stream. But Hellblazer, I just want to bring something up while I'm doing that. Right, so Hellblazer is one of my favorite top 3 comic book characters of all time, right? So much so that I have this original, I don't even know when it's from, but it's getting faded a bit because it's been around a lot, from 2000. So it's 20 years old, right? Hellblazer figurine. But I'll show you why I love Hellblazer. I mean, how much I love him. In this issue of Hellblazer, going back to 2000, issue number 281. It has my first ever and last, I guess it was, first ever letter to a publisher. And it's in this issue. It's actually printed in this issue. I think I emailed or somehow I wrote to it. I don't know how I did it. It was way back when, right? And so I was like really, I wrote to, I think it was Karen or Shelley Bond. I think it was Karen Berger, who was the editor on the whole Vertigo imprint, which I dislike the fact that they killed it recently. I think it was last year they killed the whole imprint. That was because whoever took charge of it destroyed it, just totally put in so much garbage work. And I don't mean garbage in the sense, but I mean actually it didn't make sense. It wasn't what the quality of writing was, right? They didn't have quality writers on whatever books they were putting out. And you can critique people's work, you can criticize people's work, but the end product is you saw what it was. They didn't sell enough comics under that imprint, and you didn't, and then you ended up actually seeing it close down because it wasn't doing that well. So that's something, when I'm writing my own comics, I'm really, really, really tough on myself on making sure that the stories make sense, that the world that I create makes sense, and that readers will latch on to the big world building that I'm doing, because our universe, the Plunge universe, is huge. It has 3 different worlds. It has 5 different genres in it, and characters, that like hundreds of characters, because as every time I write, there's a new character in it. So there's more people added to it, and so so I wanted to get this new series, and it's the only new series that I've bought from DC that I'm actually following. I haven't even read the comics. I just like the fact that it's John Constantine, it's Simon Spurrier, and I can trust Simon to do a good job. And I'm hoping that when I do read it, it's a good work. Now, the only other one that I'm, apart from Merker and that one, because I'm very limited in my budget, so I'll make sure that what I'm getting is actually worth my time. And of course, Dead Eyes. As you know, I've mentioned this before about the controversy around the Dead Rabbit with the series, how they had to stop publishing under that name, and they had to come back out with Dead Eyes. And I don't mind this Dead Eyes thing, but I mean titles. But I trust Duggan to do a good job, and I trust McCrea to do a good job with the art, and so I'm willing to pay for that. So, but Dead Eyes, I read the first few pages in the Image Plus magazine that they put out, and I thought that Dead Eyes would be was a great story, and it really, what would say, it connected with me as a 40-year-old guy, mid 40s, and looking at a character that's in the similar vein as me, right? Going through midlife life, has a sick wife at home, and the hero is kind of like an anti-hero. I love anti-heroes. I think it's cool. That's why I wrote, my own character, Red Dot, is kind of like a vigilante, because you don't know where vigilantes stand, because you don't know if they're heroes or if they're not. And a lot of anti-heroes. And my first anti-heroes I got into was basically Judge Dredd, and the other one's Punisher, of course. And so, and also, I love anti-heroes in the sense that that's why I got into Hellblazer, and I think Hellblazer is such a great character, because he's just a human, and I like characters that are human. I don't like characters that I read. Right, I love creating all sorts of characters, superheroes, and so on. But there has to be a human side to the character. Otherwise, there's no sort of superpowers. Kind of like take that away from the human character. But if you can also write superheroes, and you can minimize their superhero-ness or the powers by actually making them as human as possible, and that's when people connect with them. And so I think that's what connected me to Dead Eyes, and I think it's a great book. I read the first issue, as I said, because I'm up to, I think this is up to 5. Yeah, I think, no, we're up to 4. So I've got 2 more of this series, and I'll see how it goes, because I always get the first 6 issues because I want the first story out, because I only write in 6 issues most of the time, because I think you can, if you're constrained by 6 issues, you can really work hard to put a good story out in that time. And it also, because 120 pages, 130 pages is usually equates to an hour and a half of a movie. And so 6 issues basically becomes like a movie. And so I write that way, being taught as a filmmaker to write in that sort of vein. So cheers for watching. So Dead Eyes, Mirka Andolfo's Unnatural, and Hellblazer and Mirka Andolfo's Unsacred. And Cool. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully you follow and subscribe. And as always, Malfunction. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. Thank you.